This is me, and I'm surrounded by idiots. But wait, so are you. What would you do if someone who is supposedly your friend and, unbeknownst to you, is related to the mafia threatens to send you to prison just because of a futile disagreement? If that sounds absurd, fictitious, ludicrous, it ain't. Stick till the end so you will see how I managed to get myself out of this situation and how you can also learn by the end of the video how to get yourself out of dire straits by mastering the art of dealing with idiots. This video is a scrumptious, healthy mixture of my personal experience gained over 15 years of teaching languages to people all over the world, personal training, and also a book that I recently came across called Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erickson. Let me preface by saying that it is important to understand that understanding human behavior is a never-ending task, right? An endless pursuit to know the how, the what, and why behind every single person's choice. I don't think I'm gonna make any headlines by saying that the majority of people you meet are not like you. At the end of the day, everybody ends up pigeonholing people. It's important to keep in mind that judgment is instinctive. Just like a toolbox, you can use tools for different purposes. Some for right, some for wrong. So at the end of the day, it's up to you. And just like Carl Jung said, we see what we do not see why we do what we do. Therefore, we assess and appraise each other through what we see that we do. So that begs the question, how right are we when it comes to impulsive judgments? Let's see. Tip number 1, give the half-wit the benefit of the doubt. A salient axiom I like to live by is always have the presupposition that the person in front of you might know something that you don't, no matter how annoying and dense you deem they are. This is a very positive way of looking at an unpleasant situation. Now, unless your life is in danger, then for God's sake, you can give the person in front of you the benefit of the doubt and try to find the best in that person just for your own mental sanity. Let's say you're at a party, in a meeting, or God forbid, you happen to work with these people. To look for the thing that you can learn from this person. It's quite beneficial when you have the mindset that every single person in front of you might teach you something that you do not know of. Take this tip a step further and turn it into a game, and eventually you will start maneuvering your way around these people just like Neo from the Matrix, right? Tip 2, take a step back. Too close for comfort? Take a step back, buddy. Being up close and personal, people's opinions and actions might appear a bit nebulous. However, when you take a step back, you broaden your line of vision, your horizon expands, and eventually your perspective of that person might completely change. Widen the aperture, it will shed more light in the lens and you will see things as they are rather as you want to see them. Tip 3, shut up. Whatever you say will definitely be misconstrued, so just shut up. Unfortunately for us, communication happens on the listener's terms and therefore you cannot change how the listener functions. That is why it's very important to never cast pearls in front of swine, no matter how much your inner ego just crawls up your throat and begs you to explain yourself right. Sadly, not everybody is willing to listen to what you have to say. So shut up and don't waste your time. I just want to take a minute to thank you for subscribing and for helping my dream of becoming a YouTuber come true. For those who don't know, my name is Kurt. I've been lecturing for 15 years and I'm really glad to have this opportunity to share all the knowledge I've acquired over the past decade with you. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to the next step. Tip number 4, don't argue. There's a really interesting saying about arguing with an idiot, and it goes like this: never play chess with a pigeon. It will knock the pieces over, shit all over the board, and fly around the room thinking it won. And that is exactly what it feels like when you engage in a verbal argument with a moron. Just like quicksand. The more you argue, the further down you will sink a dark abyss, ending up contaminating yourself and infecting yourself with stupidity. If the dodo wants to argue, unfortunately you cannot kick him. So kick your ego to the curb, let it go, and just avoid an argument at all costs. Tip number 5. Don't take anything personal. This is a bloody bear trap that many of us get caught in. Not everyone, unfortunately, has common sense. Not everybody is capable of distinguishing between what's right and what's wrong. Not everyone is articulate enough in order to express themselves in a cohesive way, let alone deliver the message in an articulate manner. Tip number 6. Accept that we are all different. Make an effort to put yourself in the other person's shoe. It's hard, I know, but accepting that we are all different will help you cope and also cooperate. Leave your high expectations at home. Why? Because high expectations are premeditated resentments. Tip number 7. Learn to read people. And this is the part where this magical book comes in handy. Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erickson. Without going into all the nitty-gritty details of the book, read it. What the author does is that he divides the people you will meet into 4 categories. 4 major personality types, each has a color attached to it: red, blue, yellow, and green. And in this book, what Thomas Erickson does brilliantly is that to every single color he attaches characteristics. Now, is it assumption based? Yeah, people might argue that. But the minute you meet someone and you realize that he fits like a glove perfectly in this color, then you can assume that his characteristics are as the book presents them. Now, do I remember all the characteristics? No. However, I will have a diagram on the screen. Pause the video and have a look. In the comments below, write down which color do you think you are, or a mixture of colors. Why? Personally, for example, I tend to gravitate towards the red and the yellow characteristics. It's very important to keep in mind that one person is not a single color. You can have the whole palette of colors. You can be a mixture of all 4 colors, right? So try to make your assessment as accurate as possible using the diagram, which you can backtrack the video to. The main takeaway of this video is that even though your instinct and emotions might beg you to act impulsively, use your brain first, as the majority of times acting on impulse will backfire. For those who joined for the tips and do not have time for whatever reason to stay for the fun part, i.e. the story, thank you very much for joining thus far. Hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next video. For the rest of you who have already prepared your popcorn, please take a seat, fasten your seatbelt, and enjoy the ride. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. How the hell did I deal with an ungrateful idiot who, mind you, violently threatened me to send me to prison just because of a futile argument? Here's a quick sneak peek into what happened 2 months ago. I was invited to this supposedly dreamy wedding in Mexico. I was sold on promised unforgettable experiences full of VIP, yachts, private beaches, exclusive clubs, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Apparently, it was supposed to be a guaranteed VIP experience, or at least that's what I thought. Currently, I'm living in Central Europe, and as you can imagine, the sun likes to forget about this part of the earth. So when it does shine, it shines as bright as their sense of humor. Non-existent. So I decided to escape the gloomy and dismal weather of Central Europe and head over to Mexico to see my friend tie the knot. 28 hours, 5 flights, 2 of which were cancelled. A couple of random hotels later, I finally find myself in Mexico, the promised land. Little did I know that what was about to happen would totally change the definition of the word friends. The private parties, the exclusive clubs, the yachts, private beaches were all smoke and mirrors, just like a mirage in a desert. The private parties were public, the exclusive clubs equated to a small corner table in a dodgy pub down an alley. Yachts were small boats which barely kept afloat, and apparently VIP stands for very ignorant person. Needless to say, I was very disappointed. After giving this person countless chances and hoped for redemption, I decided to politely ask what the hell is going on and why he opted for tactics of deceit instead of being honest. Under the influence of both drugs and alcohol, my friend threatened, both verbally and physically, to call his cousin, who apparently is related to the local cartel. He said that at the click of a button, I would be in prison and that would be the end of me. Now, at that moment, I had 2 choices, right? The rational one and the wrong one. Should I have opted for the emotional route, God knows what would have happened next. Instead, I decided to opt for the rational route, meaning I took a step back, broadened my horizon, widened my line of vision, shut up, looked at him straight in the eye, and just left. Needless to say, we no longer communicate, right? However, this occurrence is a blessing in disguise. Why? Because I started to look at people and situations in a totally different lens, and so should you. Hopefully this video helped you out and you've learned a thing or two on how to deal with idiots who you will undoubtedly meet on a daily basis. I'm curious, should you be in my situation, what would you do? Comment down below. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, it's free, and until next time, have a good one.